It's too
Welcome.
sexual.
It's like,
Oh wow.
welcome back to WPD podcast. We are back here with the Sarah Bradley. After
With myself, yes.
we are missing Roro today though because she is a very busy lady and she's got some stuff to do. But we will make sure we do an episode next week where we're all together.
Mhm.
First, we're just sort of going to go through Sarah's journey recently because obviously she's done her pro debut and absolutely fucking aced it and got
Thank you very much.
one of the top spots. So do you want to sort of just take us through your prep, take us through what you've
Yeah,
achieved?
sure. So, obviously, like a lot of people know that the prep that I did leading up to Legions wasn't the smoothest. It wasn't the best. We had a few variables that were out of our control that like affected how I was like mentally and physically, and certain things that maybe put us back to like, for example, when I was 7 weeks out, I should have looked it, but I looked about 12 because obviously there were certain things that went wrong. And like one of those things was a lot of the things that we used in that prep weren't what they said they were, so we kind of just had to take them out, and it put us back like a few weeks. I had a really nasty I had a really nasty reaction to MPP, which like fucked my head, because obviously anyone that knows MPPs, it's part of the Northern 19 family, which can affect you mentally. I mean, any steroid can affect you mentally anyway, but that was a primary like turning point in the prep where I was like crumbling, like I was just not in a good place. And I think from there, like I couldn't really claw anything back like normally, or Deb's like prep's hard enough, but when you get your head, you need to really be fully focused on it, have nothing in the way, like nothing affecting anything. But since the MPP issue I had, my head was just not in a good place going from there, and it was just a unnecessary stressful prep. And it was hard because I don't think me or Tom really knew what the like what to expect, how the women were going to look. Like the American women and the American athletes just in general are like on another level, like they're unreal. So we kind of just went in with it with like, I wouldn't say half-heartedly, but like just not really knowing what to expect. And I think that's quite hard when like last year when you've got like a show, you like, okay, gonna get the pro card at the British, we must bring 100% kind of thing. You know exactly what look you're going for, but whereas because everything's so new in the States and in the pro ranks, like you just kind of are spitballing a little bit. So it wasn't the best prep, so but it is what it is. It happened. I still managed to get on the stage, and obviously I went out to the States a week before the show. I had a really nice week, just chilling, training, like doing a bit of networking, that kind of thing. And then when the show came around, we obviously had the tan the night before, as per usual. The tanning staff were like unbelievable. Like obviously I'm pale as fuck, like you Debs. And I like walked in and the head tan was like, girl, you are white. And I was like, oh girl, like, you know me. Like, and she was like, you don't need another layer. Like, and I was like, okay.
Representing the UK and being pale.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was like, so I had like 3 layers of tan the night before, and it was like lush tan. Like I
It looked
don't think it was
really
pro
good.
tan, but it just sat really nicely. It was a really nice color, like, and it was just an overall really nice experience, because obviously they're like bollock naked in front of strangers. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you just want that experience to be a little less like uncomfortable.
Mm.
So she really sorted me out. She's called Jay, and she does like all the Olympians and stuff. So she's like head tanner for like all the big shows. And that was a really good experience. Then on the morning we did pre-judging, and that was amazing. Like we just chilled out, had our top coat again, which was really nicely sorted by Jay and stuff like that. And it was just like running like clockwork, like literally. Like we could all chill backstage. Backstage area was really big, loads of like bands, dumbbells, stuff to pump up with. There was like an MC. Obviously it was Bob Ciccarello as the MC. And then it was like he had like a little smaller MC backstage, which would be like, okay, women's physique needs to come up, glaze, pump up, start getting ready to go on. And that was like halfway through the category before. So you'd always be like at least half an hour, 40 minutes ready to be like to start pumping up, start glazing. And like we were just saying a minute ago, Deb's like the difference between amateur shows in the UK and even maybe pro shows. I don't know, obviously I've never done a pro show in the UK, but and the American shows are run so smoothly. Like even the difference between the amateur and the pros, like it's just unbelievable. It was like clockwork. You knew exactly where you needed to be. You had everything you needed. You needed to pump up. Like obviously there were like cameras and stuff backstage, but they wouldn't get in the way. They would just kind of let you do your thing. And it was just like, okay, I know I need to be ready in about half an hour because the MC's just said, let's get some food in. Let's really start slowly pumping up. And like it was just such a nice atmosphere. Everyone was so lovely. Like what I found with like a lot of the Americans, like they're so hospitable. Like it, like, even the gym that I trained at a gym called UFC Reno, which was like 5 minutes down the road, and like everyone was just like, okay, what do you need? Like, how are you feeling? Are you excited? Like, and even after like the show where I placed, they were like literally just praising the ground that I walked on. It was nuts. Like, just because they want to be a part of your journey, they want to help. Like, and the two owners of UFC Reno they're heavily involved in the bodybuilding industry. Dave Stickley is part of Centre Podium. He used to be part of Centre Podium, so he kind of knows everyone and anything. So he's kind of like someone you want to get involved with. But him and Mimi, his wife, was so lovely. And then obviously I met like a load of other people that were just really hospitable. And he said to me, he was like, "What are you British like? Like, are you like us?" Or and I was like, Dave, literally, we'll maybe nod at each other, and if even if you're happy enough to nod at each other, we don't really talk. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, which is not like you guys. Like we maybe stab first instead of say hello first. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, he just couldn't seem to fathom the fact that we weren't as hospitable as them. And I said, it's just the way us British are. Like, we're very reserved people, and we don't really tend to get involved with one another. So that was really cool. And obviously, like prejudging, so I didn't know what to expect. The ladies backstage were the most, honestly, Debs, like I say this to everyone, but women's physique is a category. There was 21 of us in total. Not one of those women were like arseholes. They were all so lovely, like all like bantering backstage, just pushing each other, like,
That's how
and the
it should be.
camaraderie. What's that?
That's how it should be.
Yeah, and like the camaraderie between all of us was just so chilled. Like, we were like pushing each other, like telling each other like well done, stuff like that. And I met this amazing woman, right? She's called Mary Power. That's her name. Like,
That's an awesome name.
I literally found her on Instagram and I was like, no way, is that her fucking name? Like Mary Power. Come on now. Like, yeah, and she was just one of the really lovely few like ladies that I met. But we were chilling backstage. We like just commandeered an area backstage together. And she's 51, right? And she's just an absolute mutant. Like, she's the nicest lady. She like gave me a hug when I came off stage from prejudging. And she's just like, because obviously I think there are a lot of older women, like obviously I think Yvonne who beat me, I think Yvonne's like 39, and I think that was the youngest outside of me. So like I think because of them being so much older than me, you don't have that bitchiness that you find in the younger categories, because they're all seasoned competitors. Like, they go on stage, really, obviously they're still really super impressive, but like Tanya, Tanya's an Olympian, and she's like a seasoned competitor. She looks badass, but like because they are so seasoned and because they got so much experience behind them, they're just there to do the do, and they're just there to push young people. And I think when you find a young person coming up through the sport, all they want to do is like, push you to do your best.
Yeah.
And it was just such a nice feeling. Instead of people being like, oh yeah, she looks like shit, blah blah blah, they were like, yeah, she looks awesome. Like, do you know what I mean? So it was really good. And that was just one thing, because I was like looking around and I was like, oh, do I not fit in? Do I not fit in? And obviously Leeds was like, you fit in. So that was really nice, because some of them, like, admittedly, like obviously Instagram plays a huge role in you thinking that these women are bigger than they are, but realistically, yes, they're like bigger, but it's because they're older women.
Yeah,
So like,
season. They've been doing it for a long time.
exactly, that's it. So yeah, it was good, and it was nice to just have a bit of banter backstage and stuff like that. And I met a lovely European lady. I actually can't remember. I think her name's like Lianka or something like that. And she's like beautiful. Like, her physique, I think she came like, I want to say 8th or 9th, but her physique is like so pretty. She's really pretty herself. Like, I think she's Russian or something, or Ukrainian or something like that. I don't know, but she was really lovely, and she's just got an amazing. I think she was at the Arnold's, but she didn't place very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was lovely, and yeah. Anyway, so that was like a massive part of the trip, was just meeting these amazing women. And obviously prejudging came along, and they sort of did our comparisons and shit like that. And obviously, like, first call out happened, and like,
You're like, oh.
mate, I was there like, what the fuck? Like, that's my number. And then I came, and obviously I was left hand center stage, which means like that's a good place to be. And then obviously they were moving me around, blah blah blah. And then I moved back to center stage, and I was like, oh, holding a pose, like, oh, what's just happened? Like, is this real? Is that my number? Like, so that was nuts. And I was like, obviously that happened, and I was like, it was Sandy and one of the Manion boys that were judging, so they were the head judges, and I was looking at Sandy, and they were moving me into my side poses, which admittedly, like I was the only one really with a waist and the only one with abs. So like, and the shape across my top line when I go into my side tricep, admittedly, is quite nice. I like the look of my side tricep,
It
like
flows
not
really
being
nice.
cocky or anything, but I think it's a really pleasing pose for me.
Mm.
And because Sandy kept putting me into those side poses, I thought, oh fuck me, I might have this. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
because I don't really see anyone that's got a side tricep like mine. So they kept putting, and I kept making eye contact with Sandy, like, you want
Like,
this?
yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
here you go.
Yeah. You know you want this. Yeah, no. So that happened, and then obviously prejudging was done. You kind of know who's where and whatever. And I was still left hand side center stage, and obviously left hand side is normally the one that wins, right? So
Yeah.
I kind of came away. We went home to chill because I think prejudging started at like 11. We weren't on until like 6:30 in the evening for finals. So we went back to our Airbnb, which was like 10 minutes away, just chilled out, got some food, did some photos for Tom, and we just kind of drip fed food throughout the day. It wasn't like anything crazy. It was my first year using diuretics as well, which was really cool. Like we used like nothing. We used like a little tiny bit of diazide, but like it was crazy how much of a difference it actually makes. Like the transformation of my physique within a few hours was unbelievable. Like Tom actually messaged me the day after showing, like it was like post show day or whatever, and he said the day before he thought I'd fucked it because I got really watery and like because I was stressing so much, so I just got really watery. And he was like, I wasn't going to tell you obviously before the show, but I thought we'd fucked it. And then we added in some diazide, dropped all my carbohydrates out and just did protein and fats, and then added in obviously the diazide before bed. And I literally like transformed throughout the night. It's unreal. Like I've never done it before, so it was quite an experience.
It's the beauty of it as well, because it means you can have sort of like a harsher or more sort of, yeah, you can have a harsher carb up, and then any of the water you do accumulate from it, you can kind of counteract it with the, that's the whole, that's the
Yeah,
point. Like,
that's
you're
it.
filling yourself out, you're getting nice and full, and any of like the surplus of fluid you retain, obviously, because carbohydrates have an affinity for water, you know,
Yeah.
you're holding like what, 3 grams per gram.
Yeah.
You do have a little bit more, then that just pulls it off. You know,
Yeah,
and you're
that's
not
it.
this is the thing, that people rinse diazide, and people seem to forget you still need that intramuscular hydration. You still need the water there to get a pump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're ruined, right? So it's that balance, and I think you guys got that perfect. Like
Yeah,
you
that's something that
were
I said.
full, you were
Yeah,
really
it's something I
full.
said to Tom was like, you landed that plane really well,
Yeah.
considering the time difference, because I was 8 hours behind Tom. So like considering he was that far ahead in time like zones, he landed the plane really well. And I was better for finals than I was for prejudging because
Yeah.
I just got better and better throughout the day, which was really nice because I know some people go backwards when it gets to the finals.
Yeah, they smooth right over, don't they? They mess up.
Yeah, exactly. So we
Yeah.
just went back and I chilled, read some bit, had a nap, that kind of thing. And then went back to finals, which finals is obviously more of a show. So you don't really, they do like the final comparisons if they need to. Like if they want to change their decision, then they will. But normally it's pretty much set in stone by the time you come back for finals. So did my routine, which was fun. Like as per, I just completely forgot everything. So I just went with it. Like
Well, I'm gutted. You've not got it recorded anywhere, have you?
No, so that's the thing with pro shows is because they have like a professional live stream and shit like that, you're not actually allowed to record anything. So we like the girls managed to like get a snippet of my routine on this because there's a screen backstage where you can watch the show, and they managed to film a little bit, but other than that, like there's nothing there. So I want to try and see the live stream because I want to see what I look like.
Yeah.
And I know a couple of people have the links and they paid for it, so it must be available. But and you have to pay like $100 for like your individual presentation and shit like that, which I spent enough on this damn show. Like,
Come on.
oh, God damn it. So yes, there's no like actual videos, which does suck. But because everyone who was there with me was backstage with me, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try and see if I can get something, but I don't know. We'll see.
Have you got any like practice videos? Because obviously, did Sammy help you do that?
Yeah, so Sammy Williams helped me do it. I've got videos of him, but not of me. I might actually have some of me actually,
Because
somewhere on
that
my
would be
phone.
pretty cool. Like if we could just get a little sneak peek and see what it was. Because
Oh, sneaky pig. Yeah. What would be cool if I can get the live stream and then like screen record my routine and then be able to put it up. That would be
yeah, we
sick.
could do that. That's a good idea.
See what I can do. But yeah, that was cool. It was still really fun. Like I really like because I did it to Diana by the weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like that.
And that's like such a badass song. So I was like, I'll just
Mm.
go with it. And it still worked out really well. So I can't complain. And then obviously like they came to the rewards and I was there left with obviously Yvonne and some other girls. And I was like, fuck me, like I might have this. Like I literally came back from my Airbnb, like lying backstage with Leeds, thinking like, fuck me, we've literally gone from not really knowing where the hell I'm gonna place to possibly being top two. And I honestly, 95% of me thought I was gonna win that. I was like, I
It
can't
was
think.
close. It was close.
Yeah, I mean there were 3 points in it. And I was lying back and I was like, fuck me, I think I might have this. Like, and what made it worse was everyone backstage was like, I'll see you at the Olympia, yeah. And I was like, fucking hell, stop talking, like, stop. Everyone, just hold your horses a minute here, like.
But I mean, you made
So
a
yeah,
fucking massive impression regardless.
yeah, like, and it was crazy. I had to be retanned, obviously, when I went back. So I just got retanned by one of the lads that was there. Obviously, I was clothed, had my bikini on, I wasn't naked or anything. And he was like, I've been in this industry for like 25 years, and you're one of the best back doubles I've ever seen on a 25-year-old. And I was like, oh, fucking hell, thank you very much. Like, I'll just go to the gym sometimes.
Just on the weekend when I can be asked.
Yeah, innit? And that's like just a pump session. No, like, yeah, and it was nuts. Like the amount of people that I think I didn't expect to make such an impression, and I did. And yeah, like obviously I came second, which I haven't got my feedback yet, granted, which is quite annoying because it's been almost 3 weeks now and I still haven't got feedback. So I've emailed every judge on that panel for feedback, because I think where I went wrong, not necessarily wrong, but I think possibly the way I pose my stance is still relatively narrow, I guess, but I don't like a super wide stance. Where Yvonne, who beat me, she's really wide in her stance. Instead of coming like, say these are your legs, I come back a little bit. I think she comes out to the side,
So
and
more
she
of like
pops her glutes. That's it. Yeah. So it showed her sweep a bit more. So I think if I turned my feet out slightly and maybe was a little bit wider, then I could probably show my sweep a little bit more, because she beat me on quad sweep, and I think overall fullness as well. Because I spoke to her about it, was like, have you got feedback? And she said, I don't really want any, because she knows where she sits. And she said, maybe look at your back double and think about your posing. The only thing with having a wider stance is I can't contract my glutes, I can't contract my hamstrings, so I don't like it.
Is she taller?
So
I can't remember. Is she taller?
maybe by an inch or so.
Okay. I mean, it does
Um,
dictate obviously where your placement of stuff.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, so I think what my feedback will be is just overall fullness and quad sweep. I think that's all. I honestly don't really see much more that I need to work on. I just maybe more like, I don't know. I would like to have bigger shoulders to create more of a V taper, because I don't see my waist getting any bigger anytime soon. Because the whole idea of this off season now is, instead of being a fucking idiot and getting fat like I did last year and chasing a scale weight, right? I got so fat last year, Debs. Honestly, like looking back at photos, I was just a tubby man, like a tubby old man.
But look how much growth that you got from it, though.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like,
It's
you got to think,
uncomfortable.
even though I was fat, like it did
Well,
it
we're
did
gonna say
say
fat
fat,
here.
so fat
Us,
bodybuilder.
us. I don't think you look fat, because even in some of your check-ins, you still had ab outlines.
Like, I'm
And
very
that's
lucky in that sense, right? I
it's a
don't
big
really
indicator.
lose abs.
No, you didn't. I don't think you looked fat. I think obviously when we look back, when we're shredded and we look back on our start of prep photos, we're like, holy shit, I look like I looked at myself, I was like, I look like a fat marshmallow piece of shit. But like,
Yeah, that's it.
but when you're back in your off season, like where I am now, I look at myself, I'm like, I actually didn't look too bad. It's that mindset, isn't it? The frame of mind you're in at the time. But
Yeah,
look, the way that you were facilitated, look how much tissue you put on.
yeah, that's it. So I think this time around we're not gonna chase a weight per se, because we wanted to get to 80 kilos last year, but I think now we're just going to see where things go. Like, I'm 68 kilos at the moment, 69, like bordering 69, keeping in mind at my heaviest I was 10 kilos heavier than I am now. So like, we're just gonna, food's not high, it's not low. Like, carbs on training days like 600 grams. I think fat is like, I can't remember, 65, and then protein's like 185, and then on non-training days protein's like 195, carbohydrates 475, and fats are 10 grams higher than training days. Like, for me, that's not high. Like, I was breaching 1,000 grams of carbs in my heart, and like at my heaviest last year.
No.
So like there's a lot of food, like, so yeah, we're just gonna see how it goes. Like I'm not on anything now apart from HRT and T4 just to help with like, you know, thyroid stuff after the prep. And obviously I've lost the hardness. I'm not as, which you wouldn't want anyway. Like we don't want to run drugs like now, because I don't want to run them, because after obviously that prep, it was just a bit, I don't want to be on anything now. Like it's just a bit harsh and my body's
Got to
like,
let yourself
stop.
have the break like that. I think that's the problem, isn't it? A lot of people, you want to look that way, but once you get back into off season, you kind of accept it, and then you become happy with your off season look.
Yeah, that's
It's
it,
too much,
exactly.
isn't
Like,
it?
and I'm still really shapely, like I'm still nice and wide, like my shoulders still have like natural cap to them. Obviously on anabolics you're gonna have a more cap to them because the androgens and shit like that, but like I still look nice and wide, and like I still have like striations in my quads and stuff like that, and like there's still a bit of feathering in my glutes still, which, and I like that because I feel because I just feel like more efficient. Like when you get heavy, especially like I'm 5'4" and 80 kilos on that frame is quite hard. Like, so I feel efficient. I feel like I can grow. If we want to grow towards more like the 70, like mid 70s, that's fine. But I don't think I'll allow myself to get to that point again, just because it made prep so much harder
Mm,
as well. That was something
get
that
it
Tom
off.
made very clear, was like, we probably should try and rein it in a little bit this time. Like, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, but that's the plan going forward, is to just see where this off season takes me. We're waiting for the calendar to be released,
Mhm.
because obviously we can't really make plans until that calendar gets released. So I do know I want to do Texas, because the prize fund for that is like 15 grand, and I do believe I could be top 3 for that one.
Mhm. No
And
doubt.
then obvious, what's that?
I said no doubt you could be top three for it.
Yeah, and it's Sarah's show too, so it would be cool to be able to like see her and meet her and just represent women's physique with her there. I think that would be
Yeah,
sick.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, maybe a European show, and then obviously we just see what goes. Because I would like a substantial amount of time off. One, because I need a substantial amount of time off, because, you know, like drugs wise, like we weren't running them for super long. Like the harder drugs were at the back end of prep, so really they weren't being run that long. But it's still like I don't want to be on anything. Like I just want to be
Nice to have a
just
break from it, isn't it?
yeah, so like, you know, we probably won't run anything in my off season, just purely because with as a pro, like preps are so much longer, because I think you should be doing more than one show. And obviously, like, I mean, you can do that as an amateur, but like as a pro, to be more in the scene, I think you need to be like show your face more. That's what Tom
Yeah.
was saying, and that's, you know, speaking to some people, they were like, you know, you need to just be a bit more relevant.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, I think we're just going to have like a nice amount of time off drugs, and then when I go into prep next year, it will be obviously a little bit longer, like, but
Well, you'll be fresh as well, won't you? Like you'll be physically fresh,
yeah,
mentally, and it does take a toll on you mentally as well, because like I said, they do lend, when you use your peds and your anabolic stuff, they do lend a certain, like, you do get like a certain feeling from them. Almost like sometimes you do feel like a bit invincible, like you'll see a
yeah, for
nice
sure,
pump, you feel fuller, and then when you're not using them, you're kind of like, oh, but it's, you have to get used to that, and
yeah,
the difference they make, like
yeah,
obviously they do help. And
mm,
we've never like, all of us are quite transparent. We're never like beating around, like, oh no, I don't need them or anything like that. Like,
yeah,
yeah, it's as a pro competing in the ranks you are,
yeah,
it's a given, right? But we still need
that's it.
time away.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's just, yeah, it's just you get to that point where you're like, I mean, granted, like post show is really hard. Like, you have to literally get away from being that look. Like,
Mm,
but post show is never easy. Like, no matter how many times you do it, yes, you get a little bit better with food and shit. Like, but being able to let go of that look is always hard. And
mm,
if someone says to you, "Oh no, it's really easy," it's like,
it's not.
no, it's not. Stop. Like, even like I can imagine even the top competitors are like, you have to get used to not being lean. That's something me and Giles were talking about actually in that interview for muscular development, was like, how do these women stay so lean for so long, and how actually it's quite unhealthy, and how you could probably maybe make it a little bit healthier by coming out of being so lean and going back in. But it's just part of being a pro, is like coming back to that relevance. Like, you need to be
Mm,
really, I would say, like maybe 6 weeks away from stage ready all the time. If you're like if you're like a newly, like, if you're like a known pro who's jumping into, like, look at Natalia this year. Like, she's done
they're
what, like
always in
5 or 6 shows,
yeah.
and she's been like outside of competition shreds for the majority of the year. Like, literally, I think if they pull things back and she was like food and stuff and then increased drugs and stuff, she'd be ready in 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
And she's been like that all year. So I mean, each their own, but I would rather step back, do less shows, and be more healthy for longevity reasons than like bosh out 6 in a year. You know what I mean? I mean, she'd probably made bare dollar, but like that's not the point, really, is it?
No, it's like it's like it's at a cost for sure, and it like I said, it does have that mental like the impact it has on you mentally, and it's not just that though. It's like yes, it has the effect on your body, like your mind. You know, it's expensive as well, and then you have to do things like sacrifice your time, like with your loved ones. Obviously, you're a professional
Yeah.
athlete, but you know, you still have to kind of like nurture and cultivate like the relationships around you.
Yeah, for
When you come
sure.
out of prep, or you know, you need to have that networking around. You need to have those relationships. If you burn all your bridges,
Yeah.
you know, like not everyone will compete forever, and like some people that sounds like no one will compete forever. We'll compete
Yeah.
as long as we're able to, as long as it's healthy and we enjoy it. But you still need to make sure that you are, you know, having that time out for you mentally and physically. You need
For
the time
sure.
away because otherwise, like you know, you just lose out on everything, and then you're like, then you almost like, build up a resentment towards it, and then you'll just pack
Mm,
it in, which I think
exactly.
people tend to do that after just one show, not even a season, like one show. They'll do one show and just they're like, nah, it's not for me,
Yeah.
which is good, isn't it? Dipping your toes in. But if you're gonna get yourself in it long term, you need to strategize, don't you? You need to like know what to do for your health, for your relationships and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
it's important, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And I think the amount of like mental capacity you need for a prep, if you carry that on for every like 365 days a year,
Mhm.
24/7, you'll just burn out. And I say that to people, like that's something that Tom, are going to be focusing on, is actually just taking a step back. Like, because obviously what happened at Pro Legions, I like walked away and I was like gutted. Like I was like, it's not good enough. That's just not good enough. And people were like, bro, you've literally just played second in
Mm.
your pro debut. And I was like, yeah, but it's not good enough. Like that for me, I know I probably would have won if I was at 100%. That for me was my 80% because I know how shit prep went.
Mhm.
And I like walked like we were like trying to think about what to do after show, like go and like have some food or whatever. And I was like, nah, like it's not good enough. Like I'm fucking gutted. And I was like standing there and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like
Yeah.
I've literally just done that, and I'm just not even I'm not even happy. Like I'm fucking crushed. And you know, like in the end, I just ate some steak and rice and went to bed. Like I was like, just want steak, I just want rice, and I'm going to bed. I'm going
But
to
you're very
grumble, and I'll
emotional
be
at that
fine in the
point.
morning.
Your hormones are all over the place. You're emotional, like you're depleted. Like
Yeah,
you don't think straight. I think you. It's nice to have even that day you wake up in the morning, then you'll be a bit like, oh, do you know what? Because even I said to you, didn't I? I said, fucking hell, like people go into their pro debuts and they'll never place in top three again.
yeah,
They'll
yeah,
become a pro, and that's the end of their competing career for some people. But to
yeah.
like literally have that succession straight away in your first pro debut is fucking amazing.
It's
You know,
mad.
like
Yeah,
you know, I said to you like it's imminent, like the Olympia's imminent. It's there,
mm.
and like if that was your 80%, I feel sorry for people that are going to be competing against you
Thanks,
at
Debs.
100%. No, but it's
Yeah,
true. Like it's not. I'm not just saying that because you're my friend. It's true because it's one of those things like that mentality that you've got is good to be like, oh, it's not enough because if you become complacent, you don't want to push anymore. And you
yeah,
see people that are like that, they're like champions will be like, oh, you know, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. And then someone
mm.
will come in and just swipe it from under them. And then they're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have let my foot off the gas because
Yeah,
I'm complacent. So to an extent, you need that mindset of, you know, it's not good enough. Like
yeah,
it was good enough, but it keeps you going. But again, on the flip side of that, that can be you can exercise that thought pattern too much.
yeah,
Up
yeah,
and over, won't it? So there's that middle ground on it.
yeah. That's it. And like it, granted, it's only really taken me now to like come to terms with how good that placing was. Like I've been so hyper focused on everything since stepping off stage. Like, right, next year I'm getting that Olympia qualification, whether it kills me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I know I can get it next year. I'm almost certain I can at 100%. And I've just been so hyper focused that it's too much.
Mm.
So like that's something that me and Tom are going to be working on, is just being able to step back a little bit, because it's coming back to that being burnt out thing. Like obviously there are people on Instagram that like, oh my God, you have bodybuilding lifestyle 24/7. But like this is literally my life. Like, and I will stop at nothing until I step on that O stage and make a statement. Like, and this is what it's been like. And I've just been so like so focused that it's too much. Like
Yeah.
everything I'm doing is like bodybuilding, bodybuilding, bodybuilding. But then when I literally go to bed thinking about it, and I wake up thinking about it, and I'm like, right, okay, let's just step back a little bit and let's just spend some time with family. Let's go and do stuff that Leets wants to do. Because obviously my partner Leets, like she's been slammed being my other coach. Like she was
Mm.
doing everything for me in the States. And my best friend Sphere came out with me as well. And Leeds is basically on my PA now. She does everything for me. And like for me, like she's given me so much of her life this year that the least I can do is just be like, right, Sar, let's just step back. Like bodybuilding's gonna be there all the time. Don't worry about it. Let's go and watch her play futsal. Let's go and play golf. Like let's just do stuff that she wants to do, because 80% of her life is me, is looking after me and doing bodybuilding. And like it's just, I think it's very important to take that step back. And that's something that, you know, I've taken Vicky on board to be my sports psychologist, because I know if I can't control my mentality going into each prep, then that's the missing bit. Like everything else is fine. It's just my mental health that seems to diminish, because the self-doubt is very strong. So it's kind of like, right, what are we going to put in place to help that? Step back, enjoy life a little bit more. Like that's one reason I do a macros approach in my off season now, is because like, you know, Tom made it very clear in my check-in yesterday, which will be up on my grid on Instagram today or whatever. Actually, this when is this going live?
What's it saying? I'll try and do it tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll try and
This
get
will
it
be
this week.
it'll be on my grid yesterday. And it's just like, you know, Tom was like, you know what, if you want to go for food, just put in your macros, like, and make sure you fit it in your macros. He was like, yeah, if you go to the cinema and you're gonna eat 150 grams worth of pick and mix, just put it in your macros. Like, and obviously you only get like one off plan meal a week, which isn't really a thing when you're on macros anyway, because you can just fit things in. But it allows you to like just step back and have some food with your other half or whatever. Like, and granted, some people are fucking idiots with macros, but like 95% of my food that I have macros is what Tom's gonna give me anyway. Do you know what I mean? It just allows me, like, if Leeds turns around and is like, do you want to have like jacket potatoes or something tonight? I'm like, yeah, sure, just swap things around. Like, it's just, and it just allows you to step back instead of following a meal plan 365 days a year. But when it comes around to prep and I am on a meal plan, then I'm like, right, it's game time. Let's switch in. Let's knuckle down. Let's smash this. So like, it's very much a method of being like slow and steady at the moment. Like a lot of things are still very overwhelming, and I am taking things day by day. But it's just being able to switch off is one of my main things. Like instead of thinking so far ahead, Vicky's trying to get me to think in short term. So like, what are my goals for December instead of like Olympia? Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of just trying to break things down. Sometimes, like I said, days are better than others, but you know, it's why I've made a very clear thing on my Instagram about talking about mental health, is because stage you see glitz and glam all the time, whereas you don't see really what happens behind a lot of the doors. And it's really important that people are very open about that, because you know, it is a very Instagram, all fame, all this, all that. When really it's like, nah, she's fucking like struggling in the corner over there, but all you're seeing is her being like, yes, it's all glitz and glam, it's all perfect. Like, and that's not the case. Like 2-3% of bodybuilding is glitz and glam, and that's when you're on stage. Do you know what I mean? Like we were saying earlier, like financially, I'm fucking crippled because of competing. I wouldn't change it for the world, because it meant I got to get up on stage and compete and and make a presence. But like now I've got to spend months trying to get that back, because unfortunately us women don't get paid as much as the men. Like I literally took home after conversions and shit £800 from that show, which isn't even a quarter or anything of what I had to spend on getting out there. Do you know what I mean? And unfortunately, like we don't have paid sponsors. We don't pick up paid sponsors like the men do. Like this isn't a hate on men, but like if you look at some of the new pros, they've got some some amazing contracts just from one show that they've done. Do you know what I mean? And it's just not the way it works in female sports. And unfortunately, like as much as we want to change it, I don't think it will change anytime soon. You just need to keep pushing it forward, especially women's physique. Like this is no hate on bikini athletes or anything, but you see all the sponsorships going towards the more ideal look than the women that are actually, you know, I just think that we put our bodies under so much more strain and stress than another athlete would in this industry, and we don't really get recognized it because it's not the social norm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's difficult because you do see a lot of the, you know, they still, don't get me wrong, they still put the hard work in. They're
sure.
I would say they're equally as unhealthy as to a point, because people don't seem to understand that as well. When you're pushing yourself to the depths of prep, we've never ever by any means promoted it as healthy or sustainable or even obtainable. For some people it's not, but it's the same for them. So it's just, you know, there are more women as well that want to look, they want to have more muscle. Like women are getting a bit more, because they're worried as well. You see stupid stuff like, oh, you know, men don't find that as attractive as this type of body, and like at the end of the day, like, who gives a shit? If we
Yeah.
did it for, trying to trying to get a potential partner, we like, a lot of us probably wouldn't want to do that, but we're not, like, we're doing it for ourselves. We're building the physique that we
Yeah.
want to get. And if someone comes along that likes it, great. And if they don't, who gives a shit? Like, you can't live your life thinking, oh, I've got to please everyone around me. I've got to make sure that everyone
Yeah.
likes me, everyone finds me attractive. That's not what it's about. And if that
Yeah.
is the reason and the purpose behind us doing it, that's like pushing you, you're not going to stay in the industry very long. And it is sad to see that there aren't bigger women that are being sponsored. It's
Mm.
quite a sad thing to see because, like you said, it's grueling. Like, it's tough, even with the use of assistance, which I think people largely sort of use that as an excuse as to why that woman's so big or
Yeah.
why she's got a lot of muscle. There's so many factors that come into play, like genetics, the way they're training, the consistency of their training, their eating, their sleeping. There's a lot more that goes into that. Like,
Mm.
you and I, if we wanted to downsize, we could do it. That would actually, for us, that would give us more issues, wouldn't it, mentally, downsizing,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
than it would to just holding where we are. And people don't seem to understand that. They
Mm.
don't.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, it's sad. But obviously, like, we're trying to show women that if you want to be bigger, just do it. Just do it for yourself. And then, like,
Yeah.
if you're doing it for a purpose, like to get a sponsor or to please someone else, it's not going to get you very far, is it? Because
No.
I've seen so many women try and do, like, competing, and they do it for making, like, a partner jealous or trying to prove someone wrong. And I'm like, that's not why you should be competing.
No, no, exactly. It's not worth the like stress and strain on your body, really, is it? Like, this is why, like I said the other day on my Instagram, like I'm not a firm, like I don't really like when people use like steroids for recreational use. I don't really agree with that,
No.
purely because like what's the risk to reward here? Like, what are you getting out of this apart
Mhm.
from being the biggest in the gym? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as professional and seasoned competitors like you, me, Ro, like anabolic steroids are just part of the sport. It's just we need it to get to where we need to go. Unless you're wanting to be an unassisted natural athlete, that's perfectly fine. That's your choice. But people who use recreational like steroids for recreational use to go and look good on the beach or to look good on, photo shoots are different maybe, but like if you're just wanting to be the biggest person in the gym, then
Even
it's like,
even then, I would say no.
fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's just not worth the risk on your, or the health implications that may pop up. It's just not worth it. Like,
Yeah.
but each their own. But that's something that I made very clear is like, if you're a recreational user, then why? What's the point? Like, why are you using it?
You've got to
Mm.
question that big time. It's something. I mean, I'm sure you've been asked it. Of, I've started, and this when they're first starting in the gym, they want to start taking stuff. I'm like, you've not even laid
Yeah.
down foundations. Like, if you understand, like, the issues you can cause, like, if your muscles exert far more force than all your connective tissues, you
Mm.
end up giving yourself a lot of fucking issues. Why not just build a foundation? Let your joints and everything get used to it, and
Yeah.
then, like, a year down the line, you might not even want to do it anymore. Like, you might get bored. It's always that common thing. It's, oh, what stack should I use? What should I do here? What should I do here? Oh, do you use stuff? What do you use? And you're like, well,
Yeah.
obviously I use stuff. Like, not now, off season, I'm completely clean. But when I'm in prep, I'm like, honestly, like, even asking that question, stupid. Look at me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to look like that naturally, am I? I say it, and they're like, oh, what are you using? I'm like, well, I'm not really going to tell you because I don't want to have
Yeah.
any part of you taking things because I'm using it and you think it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's dangerous, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And we're going to talk about it later. But each person has some, like, you could use a stack or any type of compound and be fine with it. I could take that and it could completely mess me up, and
Mm.
vice versa, right? So
Yeah.
it's down to you as an individual, like what.
Exactly.
I just don't understand why everyone's so keen on it, and where they're sourcing it from as well is really dangerous. Like,
Yeah.
it's say VAR, it could be Anavar, and they look, and that could be like split with like Debo or something like that, or even like,
Yeah. That's a super common one. That is.
it's
Yeah.
very common. And then they're
Yeah.
like, oh, why have I got all these side effects? Because it's VAR. And I'm like, well, actually, have you done a test on it? Have you seen? It's not. It's
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. Like I put one of these anonymous question boxes up the other day,
yeah.
and someone was like, "Oh yeah, first time thinking about taking Anavar," and I was like, "Well, is your training on top? Like, is your nutrition good? Like, how's your recovery? Like, steroids aren't a magic pill. If anything, they make things harder
Mhm.
because psychologically you've taken this pill and or whatever the fuck it is, and it's, yes, you're given that confidence boost, but then again you're like, oh, okay, I want more, and then that spirals into, okay, let's take more, let's take more, and then if you, like you said, if you don't know what you're using or what you're taking, then you're just going to get health issues like exploding out from everywhere, and you're not going to know what to do. And then if you're taking more, where are you going to go? Like, you're just stopping yourself from aggressing because you're taking so much already. Like, someone told me the other day, like there was like some 23-year-old and he was like on almost over 3 grams of just shit. Do you know what I mean? Like test and anabolics. And he's like 21, 22, and you're like, bro, like your natural testosterone level should be
Solid.
banging at that
Yeah.
level, at that age. Why are you just ingesting like, or taking this exogenous hormone to enhance your already like what should be good testosterone levels? And it's just mad, mate. It's just mad, and it's just something that, us as a group, and like myself, yourself, Ray, want to put out there, because no one's talking about it, especially as women. And the amount of messages I got after that video of saying like, I'm so glad like you're talking about it, it was mad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this shouldn't be a thing. Like, we should be openly talking about it. And even some of the pros were like, fair play. I was
Yeah.
like, well, you should be talking about it as well. Like, we've got this platform now that's growing. We should be able to be like, right, okay, girls, let's talk about Anavar today. Let's talk about Primo. Like, let's talk about side effects of this and this, which is something obviously we're going to be touching about. But like, girls should be able to be like, right, oh look, there's a video on Anavar, spoken by a professional bodybuilder, spoken by seasoned competitive bodybuilders. Let's have a look. Side effects, what it does, what you can expect from it, and just, being things that they need to be aware about. Because like you said, if you're buying from an underground lab, the amount of fucking shit that you can, like, things are, if you
Or
think
they're
that
just
something's
duds. Some of them are duds as well. There's nothing in it.
exactly, yeah, and that's what I fucking first-hand experienced that in my prep. Like,
Yeah.
you just need to be so careful about where you're buying from, what you're sourcing, blah blah blah. And like, like I had a lovely lady message me the other day, and she was talking about Anavar and stuff like that, and I was like, she was sort of explaining some of the bits and bobs, and I was like, are you sure that's Anavar? Like, I don't think so. So, and it's just things like that, and it's just, the boyfriend, typical half the boyfriend cycle. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It's that thing with Anavar. They almost think it's like a free, because it's Anavar, they think it's like a free pass to do as much of it as possible because it's Anavar and it doesn't hurt
yeah,
you. And you're like, it's
it's
still
a
an anabolic.
female-friendly steroid.
You're like, come back to me when you've got about 50,000 hairs growing out your chin and your
Yeah, no.
voice dropped down like 10 octaves, then say
Yeah.
it's okay. It's not like it's like its anabolic ratio to androgenic is obviously lower, but it's still going to be a cumulative thing, right? Like when we had Tom on, he was talking about it, which it's that thing. Like I didn't, when I first started competing and doing stuff, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like it's things you learn as you go along, and it's one of those things. Again, it's almost insulting to people that follow you to
Yeah.
lie about taking stuff, and it gives them a false pretense as well. Like they're going to be like, "Are you actually bullshitting me and telling me you're not taking stuff?" Because after a while, you're like, "Well, I've never said on neither of you on our profiles before we openly spoke about it, a natural or not natural."
Yeah.
Kind of left it, and then if people ask, I was like, "Yeah, okay, I am," but
Yeah.
if you have these people again that do put it on there and they're like natural, and then you look at them, you're like, why would you even draw the attention to yourself by saying you're a
Yeah.
natural? Why would
Yeah.
you do that? It's insulting to people that are natural, and it's also insulting to people that use and talk about it, because at the end of the day, it's the same for us doing that in competing, like competitive bodybuilding,
Yeah.
as if someone that goes out and has a drink on the weekend. Do you know what I mean? They're doing that
Yeah.
every weekend. It will accumulate and cause issues over time if they're doing too much of it. But if
Yeah.
they're smart with it and they manage it, it's the same sort of thing. It's just because that's society. In society, it's more acceptable to do, like, go and have a bit of cocaine on the weekend, have some drinks, do this. That's fine. But
Yeah.
as soon as you hear that like word steroid, everyone's like, oh, they almost look
Steroids.
like you're a dirty like heroin user, and they're like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's true. It is true though. But yeah, and like people be like, oh my god, I'm gonna spend 500 quid on getting drunk on the weekend, and then you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna get my bloods done and shit like that. I'm like, oh, why would you fucking do that?
Why do you want to be healthy? Why do you want to know what's going on in your body?
Yeah, innit? But yeah, I'm a firm believer that people need to be more open about it, just
Yeah.
purely because if you've got thousands of followers that believe you're natural and you're not, and they want to look like you, and then they're like, oh wow, what do I need to do to look like you? And then you lie about it. It's just, yeah, it's just a joke, mate. It's just, like you said, it creates that false pretense, and people are like, oh, now I can't look like you because you're using anabolics, and now it's just shit.
they lose respect for you. So if you're honest, they have respect
Exactly.
for you, and you're leading from the front as well.
Yeah.
It's not like we go through as well, like we speak about it, but it's not like we advise, and it's not like we give we don't give our stacks out and what we're using and stuff like that, because it's I don't think I would do that, just because I wouldn't want someone using it and then be like, oh, I used your stack and like this has happened, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's not what we need to do. Like, we can talk about stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Everyone's different though, aren't they? But
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Like we said earlier, like people, every individual is different and people tolerate drugs differently. Like anything, like even if you took like fucking paracetamol, like 2 tabs might work for me, 2 tabs might not work for you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so it's so hard to be like, oh, what are you taking? Blah blah. I'm like, well, what I'm taking is not what you would necessarily take, because you might not be able to, you might need more. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, you can't compare, you can't recommend. It's just solely down to the individual. Like, again, I had a lady ask about Anavar and being a wellness competitor, and I just said, look, like, if you've got a coach, ask your coach why he's put it in, what the purpose of it is, and
Question
like
it.
what you want to get out of it. Like, I can't recommend anything because it's you. I don't know who you are, hence why you're on the anonymous thing. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if your coach believes that you should have Anavar in there, then fine, whatever. Like, I can't really comment because I don't know who you are as a person. So, it's just tough. Like, you can't compare, really, can you?
No. And there's so much shit out there as well. You
Yeah.
watch some people talking about it, and you're like, you honestly just have no clue. And it's not even like it doesn't take time at all just to go and research it. Just
Mm-hmm.
go and research it. I mean, there's loads of different things out there, but I mean, you're gonna get basically the same answer for a lot of the stuff. So, and just be sensible with it as well. Don't
Yeah.
go and take it because your friend's taking it, or because your boyfriend suggests it, like you spoke about before, when people do like half a. It's like same with food. They're like, oh, I eat half the amount of my boyfriend's eating. I'm like, well, if your boyfriend's eating like 5,000 calories a day, and he's having,
Yeah.
that's not necessarily for you. But it's things like that. Just have some common. It's just having a bit of common sense, isn't it? And
Yeah,
just
exactly.
not doing it for the sake of it because it's someone else is doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
People.
we could talk about that all day, though, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could gabble on about it
We
all
could.
day, every day. But yes, but it's a funny old industry. But yeah, that, and I was gonna do, coming back to competing, I was gonna do Romania, but obviously mental health I just needed to be priority, so I pulled out, which was absolutely fine. Like, that was a tough decision, but like now I think it was the best
I think
decision.
it was a good decision.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, and then we'll just, like I said, wait for the calendar and then go from there.
Oh, exciting!
Exciting times. What's your competitive plans, Deborah? Are you getting on stage next year?
I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously I got that kidney infection, which messed me up big time. Like, not only physically, it fucked my head up big time. Like, really
Yeah.
fucked my head up. Like, I didn't train for I would say this week is probably like, and last week. I think this week's probably my first proper week back training.
Oh
Um,
damn.
yeah, I feel like I've been training, but it's not been like consistent. It's been
Yeah.
shit. I just get really angry at myself because I just want to get back. Like, I feel flat. I feel small. You know
Yeah.
that feeling you get, and I'm just like, meh. But I feel good this week. Like, I'm getting momentum. Like, I'm eating better. I'm like, the problem is, like when you don't train, you don't have an appetite, and to try and like,
Yeah.
you don't need those calories for a start, but you're kind of at that point where you're weak because you've not got enough food, and then you try and
Yeah.
train. Then you're trying to train harder, so your appetite ignites again.
Yeah.
That constant cycle, but I've managed to stop being a pussy and just do it.
Yeah.
Which I've literally had a couple of times in the gym where I've just like burst out into tears where I'm like,
Oh,
this is shit. Yeah, I'm like, this is shit. Like, I fucking hate it. Like, my head's like, meh. And then I'm like, well, I was speaking to Tom the other day, and he's like, oh, I'd like to get you competing next year.
yeah.
In my head, I'm like, no, I don't want to compete next year because
Yeah.
I don't think, like, I feel like I've lost. I haven't, honestly, so I haven't weighed myself. I haven't checked myself in. Like, I've not done anything like that since my last second week of August, maybe.
Really?
No, because I've just not mentally, I've just not been. I don't want to look. I don't want to look because I know I've lost size. I don't
Yeah.
want to. It's really strange, but I need that accountability now. Like, where I'm like, right, I need to check in. I need to see what's going on. Like, I'm having my bloods done next week because Rose
Yeah.
down. She's in that pro gym.
Oh yeah.
And again, this is me just being honest. Like, you might have seen on my socials, like, how often do you see me upload a picture of myself at the minute?
Not often, no.
Don't, because I don't feel good. Like, I feel like I look small, look shit. And it's not like, oh, everyone watching it might be like, oh, that's body's small for you. It's not. It's just because I'm not at my optimal, I'm not at my peak.
Yeah.
And I think it is something that came off post show, because post show I bounced back really well.
Yeah.
And then I got ill really quickly, and because it was my kidneys and like I was so ill with it, it worried me, because I was like, oh, like, you know, maybe it's a result of, you know, the 3 peak weeks, and also
Yeah.
diuretics for each week. And I think my body just didn't, just for
Yeah.
me personally, I don't think 3 back to back is. I was speaking to Tom about it, and we don't think that's optimal.
Yeah.
And obviously it was a heat wave and stuff as well, which
Oh
just
God, yeah, it was.
yeah. So it. I think it was a new experience for me. Like we were speaking before, you and I, weren't we? Like each prep is different, each post show is different. You know, I've experienced, like, that was my best season, my best showing ever. But my post show was different. Like I've never had an illness like that before. So
Yeah.
it knocked me for six. Like it fucking, like, I was like, oh God, like I'm only 28. And I was like, how can I get something like that? Like for me,
Yeah.
it shocked me a little bit.
Mm.
But I'm just trying, like, now I said to Tom, like, I'm just trying to get myself back up on the ladder, get some type of baseline in with my training, my eating.
Yeah.
Then, like, because I'm just taking a little break from Tom at the minute, just because I need to get this back into a good point.
Yeah.
Like it's not quite there, and it's difficult for me to admit that. But
Yeah.
we're talking about before, it's really difficult for me to admit that. But again, I'm not going to lie to people and be like, oh yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
I'm better, but it's still taking me time to get back onto things and get that momentum going again. But
Yeah.
I've had some really good sessions this week, like some really good sessions. Like
Good.
I feel a lot better. Like legs, I was really struggling with doing legs.
Yeah.
I lost a ton of like a ton of my strength for my legs. Like when I was like,
Really?
yeah, it's really weird. Like when I'm like
Oh.
bending down to pick stuff up, when I come back up, my quads were like doing like little flickers, like
Oh.
almost like tickly, but like
Yeah.
almost weak.
Oh.
I lost so much strength from them. Yeah, I think I've lost a lot of tissue. I'm not
Mm.
gonna lie, but
Mm.
I think that realistically, do I want to compete next year? No,
Yeah.
but we'll see like you just said there. We'll take it month by month, and we'll see
Yeah,
what
for
I'm
sure.
looking like. If I don't feel like I'm ready to step, I'm not stepping on stage, because next time I go on stage, I'm going to be a lot different. And I
Yeah.
want to be able to win my pro card and then be in a good position to possibly do a pro debut maybe after.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I feel. Again, obviously I'll talk to Tom about that like when we plan it, but that's my plan.
Yeah.
But just for the
I
minute,
do think if you win your pro card, you should at least be able to step on stage as a pro and be competitive instead of being like, oh, I just won my pro card, having 5 years out.
yeah,
Don't
I
need.
don't want to do that. I don't want to do
Yeah.
that. I'd rather have 2 years out,
Yeah.
go back and just wipe it, and then just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know I can put the size on and improve. I know I can do it. But again, like my goal for the meantime is just getting my head straight and getting back
Yeah.
into a routine, because it's
Yeah.
you know what it's like if you get knocked off a routine that you've done for so long. It's so difficult getting back into it. It's I'm doing it, and I haven't gone, oh bugger it, I'm not training anymore. Like I've obviously been chatting back and forth,
Yeah.
but it's like you said, it's taking that step back from bodybuilding, because when you're so intoxicated with, you know, winning, doing this and that, like you're in your own bubble in prep, aren't you? And then when you
Yeah.
break out of that bubble, you're kind of like, oh, well, what is this world? What am I
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
What am I
So
doing
true.
now?
So true. Yeah.
And
What
like,
is this shit world?
yeah, you're like, oh, what are you telling me? Everything doesn't revolve around me anymore?
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
You're telling me
So
I
true.
can't be an asshole anymore? Oh,
Yeah, and blame prep for it. God damn it.
I'm tired. You're like, I find though, I'm actually more tired in off season, and
Oh fuck yeah.
I can't. People are like, how? But you're just so structured and regimented in prep. You're just so efficient, aren't you? You
Oh
put
yeah,
all
like
this
you're
stuff
just
out, you're
an
doing this.
oiled machine. Apart
Yeah,
from like maybe 2 weeks out, but before you're like, okay, I gotta get this done, I got this
yeah.
done, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, come on,
Yeah.
catch up. And you burn a lot because you want to move around more.
Yeah.
It's again, it's winter's coming in. You get a bit like it's cold, it's dark, no one wants to do as much. And like for me, that's when I try and reverse it. And I'm like, right, I want to be as active as I can
Yeah.
and make things go, because otherwise I will like turn into like a little fat slobby couch potato. And I'll be like, Mum, just
Fat slobby couch potato, love it.
I want more Christmas pudding. I'm not going to the gym today.
Yeah. Throw one of those mince pies my way,
I was
Barry.
just about to say, please be some of those mince pies in my mouth.
Do you like mince pies?
I do like mince pies. Do
Not
you?
many. I love a mince pie. Not many people like them.
I fucking love them. They do giant ones down here, like a pie,
No, stop it.
like a pie, like a giant. Do you know what I mean? I look like a giant,
Like an actual
like,
pie, like a family
yeah.
pie.
It's like a pie. They are called mince pies. But you know what I meant? Like a giant fucking like waffle.
Yeah, like what you would buy like an apple pie, like.
Yeah. And speaking of which, we'll let people know. But Sarah and we're going to do a
Oh fuck
15,000
yeah.
calorie challenge at Christmas.
Just of mince pies. No, I'm only kidding. Have you seen Jack Richardson's 20,000
No, I haven't.
calorie challenge?
Is it good?
It is really good, to be fair. He did make a rookie error though. So I watched these calorie challenges and I'm like, wow, I would not. So he started off with like 3 boxes of cereal, right? One of them was Cocoa Pops. And I'm like, the volume of cereal with Cocoa Pops is huge.
Yeah.
Like, would you not just buy a really calorie dense? If you wanted to eat cereal, I would just buy like a really calorie dense cereal, like granola.
Do you know what another thing people mess up with? They'll do things like peanut butter. Even if peanut butter is calorie dense, it's claggy and it's fat. It's really satiating.
It
So once you've
is.
eaten, even if you eat a spoon, you're ugh. And they'll do things like as well coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee fills you up, and that makes you feel satiated and full. You
Yeah.
want things that make when you eat like it sounds really silly when you eat rice,
Yeah.
and then like say even if you eat 100 grams of raw weight of it, you'll feel empty a bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
things that you want things that fill you, but I mean they're not calorie dense, so you wouldn't. That was just an example, but
Yeah.
people do make mistakes like that. They eat the wrong stuff, like peanut butter. I'm like, yeah, you've got some calories in there, but you've just like literally ruined yourself for the next hour or two.
Yeah. And there's tactics behind this, and people don't tend to think of them.
Are we still going to get some Colin the caterpillars? Because I'm really
Oh yeah, they're badass. They'll be easy to eat.
they're dense as well. They're not actually that big, but they're very
No,
calorie dense.
exactly. Check
Yeah.
out Colin the Caterpillar's calorie macro based breakdown.
You could Colin Debs and Sara for 20% off Colin Caterpillar cake.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be awesome. Oh, now that'd be well fun.
But that
But
is
yeah,
coming, isn't it? That is coming.
is.
We're going to get someone to film it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I don't know honestly who's going to win this because I've seen you tuck some good food away.
I can, yeah, like when things are like chilled and I'm in full off season, I can eat quite well. Obviously I'm still in post show, so it's still like up and down, but like I can put some food away, yeah. What about you? Can you put food away?
If I've got a really good appetite, I can put food away.
Yeah.
I have. It could be that we can't like maybe you'll be on like your peak performance of eating, I'll be shit, or vice versa.
Yeah. How the tides turned.
I might just have like protein only meals the day before and just really like just I don't know, just prime myself ready for it.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually.
I'll calorie bank all week.
Yeah, yeah, calorie bank. You just eat protein all week and then bank 15,000 calories.
Yeah, I'll be like proper amazing. No, I'll probably not feel hungry then. Like I could probably mess myself up. No.
Maybe.
I'm gonna have to research this. I'm gonna have to look into
it. Yeah. Oh dear. Anyway, is that all we need to discuss today?
Yes. Just gonna get my paper.
And that was news at 10.
That was news at 11:45. Yeah, we'll make sure that obviously Rose on next time. We'll do like we've got loads of cool stuff that we want to talk about, haven't we? Like
yeah, loads.
We're gonna get some more content out now because obviously we've all been all over the place. We've all been competing or like Rose going to quite a lot of shows, working for Eval, doing bloods, which is cool. Yeah, we've just been busy, but we'll try and make sure that we get everyone on together next week and get them going. But any guests as well, we might have some cool guests on as well.
Oh yes, that's what Romana's been talking about, hasn't she? Fun times.
Yes, we'll have some cool guests on. We'll try and get some different perspective as well from different categories and divisions. Like we spoke about that, didn't we? It'd be good to see because we don't. It's not that we're ignorant to it. We just don't really know a lot about the other categories, do we?
Yeah.
In terms,
it'd be good to learn.
Yeah, it'd be good to learn and good to know because a lot of the time we're like, oh, we're not going to say anything about bikini, but we're not ever slating bikini. We're just using because it's the lower end of like bodybuilding, isn't it? And then we're kind of up towards like we've got more muscle mass, so it's just it'd just be good to know.
Exactly.
Because none of us have actually ever competed in bikini, have we?
No, obviously there's quite a few guys that have climbed, but I've gone from training figure to straight to physique, and I think it's what was you were figure, weren't you?
I was athletic figure, then trained, then figure, IFBB figure, then physique.
Yeah.
So I climbed, but not.
Yeah, nice. Imagine us in bikini. That'd be hilarious. Imagine the scenes.
Maybe we'll do like maybe we'll get like some bikini girls to put us through like some bikini workouts.
Oh my god, that'd be so much fun.
We'll get some heels on and we'll do some bikini
Yes.
poses. That would be funny.
Oh god,
I bet we'll be falling over, wouldn't we?
I'm awful in heels. That's why I
I'm
moved to
glad
physique.
mine hung up now. Mine are actually back there, up here somewhere.
They're there. Hello.
But yeah, but thank you all for watching.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, I can do the sign off with the ding and the belling.
Yes, remember to comment, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and obviously ring the bell for any notifications. And then obviously you want to see anything more or have any questions, and obviously the Instagram page is always open for any Instagram questions or whatever. But if you want to put questions in the comment section down below, then please do. But yes, that's all from us today.
Thank you guys for watching, and peace out.
Peace out, bros.
Maybe I'm a different breed. Maybe I'm not listening. So play